Hey Columbus, Victoria here watching My Books and Me. Today I thought I would finally do my March-April wrap-up. I have been going to do like a wrap-up every single month, but I just never got around to doing one in March, and I was hoping to get this video up before now, but I thought I would do it now before I read any more books in May, so then I don't have a lot to talk about in a wrap-up. So let's just go right in. I apologize if some of these books I don't talk too greatly on because it was a while ago since I read them. So the first book I read in April was Rhett and Link's Book of Mythicality by Rhett McLaughlin and Link Neal, aka the hosts of GMM. I actually ended up listening to most of this on audiobook because they narrate the audiobook, and they even have a couple of other people come on board, like their wives, their teacher Miss Locklear, some of the GMM crew. And I really recommend listening to the audiobook if you are a fan. It's kind of like when I read Dan and Phil's book. The audiobook is just really fun and an extra really nice experience. This is essentially just like a bit of an autobiography looking back on their childhood, how they became friends, and also just kind of like fun things that are very GMM-esque. If you are a fan of GMM and Rhett and Link, then I really recommend this book. I think I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. It was just really fun. I really love Rhett and Link. I love watching Good Mythical Morning and Good Mythical More every day. And listening to Ear Biscuits every week, so it was really just great to have them in another form and looking at like a different part of their life and them telling childhood stories and things like that. If you haven't read it yet, then I really recommend it, and especially the audiobook. The next book is As She Fades by Abby Glenn. This is Abby's newest book that came out in March. Yes, in March. It is a standalone. You guys know how much I love Abby, so getting a new book was amazing from her, and this book was so beautiful. I gave this one 5 out of 5 stars. This is a little bit different to some of the books Abby has previously written, but it is so good. So in this book we follow our main character Vale, who on the night of their graduation with her boyfriend Crawford, they were driving out of town. They got in a car accident, and Crawford has been in a coma ever since. So it's 1 month into their summer holidays. And they were both planning on going off to college together, and this summer was about them you know, like getting prepared for their future and getting excited and prepared for college and then going off to college together and things like that. But Vale has now spent every single day in the hospital hoping that Crawford is going to wake up. While she's sitting in the hospital waiting room, she meets this guy called Slate, who has been at the hospital nearly every day visiting his uncle who has cancer. And Slate turns out to be Vale's older brother Knox's fraternity frat bro from college, a college that she's also going to be going to. She's eventually convinced by her parents and her boyfriend Crawford's mother and a couple of other people that she shouldn't like stop living her life, and that maybe her relationship with Crawford wasn't the best kind of thing. I don't know, it's really something you have to read. And because she was totally against going to college, she just wanted to stay there and be with Crawford, but she soon comes to realize that she can't put her life on hold for him, that a lot of the stuff that she did in her relationship was putting him first. So she decides to go off to college, which she's really excited about. So we get to see her on this college experience and all the people she meets, and she kind of is pushed further into Slate's world and his circle, and comes to realize that maybe there's a bit of a flame there, but it's a little bit difficult when Crawford is back at home in the hospital, still hasn't woken up. But not everything is as it seems with Vale and Slate, and it is such a beautiful book, and Abby broke my little heart, and just so good. Please read it if you're a fan of contemporary and new adult and romance and feels. This book is amazing. I loved it so much, and I kind of wish Abby would write a sequel to it, but at the same time I'm okay. I just so good. Then I read To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra Christo. I actually have a full review video up on this, so I won't go into great detail, but this is a Little Mermaid retelling focusing on sirens. It is so good. The world in here is really good. I think I gave this 4 or 4.5 out of 5 stars. I will link below to my video review of that. Please go check it out. This was so good. If you like retellings, if you like fantasy, if you like a bit of romance on the side, this is the book for you. Then I read The Park Bench by Chabot. This is a graphic novel revolving around the life of a park bench and all of the things that happen in the vicinity of a park bench throughout its life, and I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I did, and I didn't expect there to be as much of a story as there was, because firstly, it's all black and white, but there's actually no text, there's no dialogue, it's just pictures. You don't know exactly what these people are saying or what they're doing or what they're thinking. You just have to interpret it from their expression and their movements and things like that. And this totally supports the whole a picture tells 1,000 words kind of thing. It was so good. There was like actual character development and character arcs in here, which is crazy to think about when there's like not that much detail in it. It was also it all came full circle. It was so beautiful about all these different things. Like you have like the old couple who you know, go there, sit at this park bench every day and have like a sweet treat. You have like the homeless guy who tries night after night to try and sleep on this bench, but there's a police officer who is trying to get him to stop doing that. You have these two women who will find out life-changing news while they're sitting on the park bench, and it's so beautiful. It was such a great book. I really recommend reading it, whether you're a graphic novel fan or not. There was just something so moving and beautiful in this, and oh, it was so good. And actually Chabot's got a new graphic novel coming out in English, because this was his English debut, which is funny because there's literally like 3 words in this that are English. Like that, there's like 3 words in here that needed to be translated kind of thing. And he's got a new book coming out very soon and I'm so excited. Anyway, I give this 5 out of 5 stars. It is so beautiful. Seriously, go out and read it. Then another graphic novel I read is Witches Volume 1 by Scott Snyder, Jock, Matt Hollingsworth, Clem Robbins and David Brothers. This is Volume 1, but there's no word about a Volume 2, and that worries me because this was really, really good. This is a horror graphic novel, and I kind of wish I'd left it until Halloween to read it because it was kind of scary. Like the artwork in here is kind of terrifying at times. Where's a really good one? Wait, the artwork in here is quite terrifying. Kind of a little bit more terrifying than I thought, and I was reading this at night and it did cross my mind. I was like, should I be reading this? Am I gonna get nightmares? I mean, I do, like, I'm not someone who can easily get nightmares, but I mean, in saying that, I can get nightmares over the weirdest things, but I was just reading this thinking, oh my god. This is interesting. It is like a different mythology of witches. It's not like, obviously it's spelt differently, but they're these weird beings, and if you were pledged to them, they will come and, you know, you get sacrificed. Anyway, we follow this family who moves to a new town, to this house in the woods kind of thing, to get away from stuff that happened previously where this girl's bully was killed in the forest, and they're sort of seemingly haunted by these creatures and these memories, and it's really interesting. You get a lot of like flashbacks in here, which was a little bit weird to read because the timeline kind of changed quite a lot, and it took a bit to sort of realize that they were flashbacks and sort of when they were flashing back to and how they connected into the story and things like that. But by the end I sort of knew what was going on. It was so interesting. There's a lot of interesting mythology in this as well, and how it ties into our modern imagining of a witch and how these witches, how they're connected to it. It's just very, very interesting. Please go read my written review of this because it's so good. If you like graphic novels, if you like horror, and if you like something that's a little bit creepy, I really recommend it. I really hope Volume 2 is happening because, like, a lot of the story is covered in this, but really when you get to the end, like the cliffhanger and the ending, you can sort of see that this is in the beginning of the story, and I can't wait to see where it goes. So I really do, fingers crossed, hope there is a Volume 2. But this is really good, especially for horror fans. So if you're interested, please go check it out. The final book I read was a reread, the 3rd time I've read this book, and that is Because of Him by Jessica Rowe. Funnily enough, I've not read the other 3 books in the series, but I've read this one 3 times. I don't know, I just kind of feeling the urge to read this one night, and I started reading it and I didn't finish till 4 AM. I think this is a book that I've either given between 4 and 5 stars. I can't quite remember. It's been a while since I've read it for the first time. But I still like stand by that review, that star rating. We follow main character Blair, who is moving across the country to live with the father she's never known after her mother dies. So she's kind of just gained this whole new family who don't really want her because her father had an affair had an affair with Blair's mother while his wife had already had 2 kids and she was about to be expecting another one. So no one really wants her there. And on the way there, she stops at a diner to get some pie. She ends up pissing off this guy by stealing his parking spot. They end up pretty much essentially almost nearly hooking up in his truck afterwards. They go their separate ways without even sharing their name. She gets to her father's house, and really her only ally at this house is her older brother Zach, who doesn't care about the circumstances as to why she's there or who she kind of means to everyone. He wants to give her a chance because, you know, she could actually be really fun, and they have a really good sort of relationship in the beginning. But she sort of doesn't feel wanted in the house, and she ends up going over the road across the street to her older brother Nash's best friend's grandmother's house. And this grandmother, whose name is Yolanda and Blair calls Granny Yo, really just welcomes her with open arms and kind of becomes her surrogate grandmother, and she becomes really, really close with her. And then she ends up meeting Granny Yo's son, Silver. Turns out Silver's the guy she hooked up with at the diner. And they kind of have this really weird, like, relationship and connection until they find out that they're a lot more closely connected than they sort of thought they were, and that they kind of shouldn't be together. But even though they can't be together, there's just something that keeps drawing them back to one another, and it's so beautiful and so heartwarming and crushing, and so many feels in this book. It is so good. I love it so much. It gives me total, like, early PLL vibes, if that's a really good, like, early PLL involving Aria vibes. But yeah, I really, really like it, hence why I've read it 3 times. I really do now need to continue reading the rest of the series. It's from the Fortunate series, and I think all the other books follow Blair's 2 older brothers and her slightly younger sister. But it's so beautiful. If you like contemporaries and romances and new adult, please read it because it's so cute. Yeah, so they are all the books that I read in March and April. Slowly getting better with how many books I'm reading. I say that, it's halfway through May and I've not finished a book yet. I've started 3. Actually, no, in saying that, I actually finished Because of Him this month, but I'm going to include it in this one anyway. I probably won't end up finishing another book in May because I've just gone and used my 1 book in this video, but that's fine. So yeah, let me know in the comments below if you've read any of these books, what your thoughts are on them. I'll link below to all of my video and written reviews for said books, so please go check them out if you want to know more, because I feel like it's been so long since I've actually read some of these books that, or it feels like it's been so long since I've read some of these books that I don't really know if I did them justice in this video. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys soon with another one. Bye!